There's so many birds in this tree right here.
Well, I was going to start this video off with a physics bug, but it looks like there's another bug where I spawn below the world, which shouldn't technically be possible because technically the player is in the center of the world and the world moves around the player. So for some reason, the player is below the world, which means the world's above the player. I have no clue what's happening. So I'm gonna have to fix this bug. And when it does work, I am not able to jump anymore. So something with the check for if I'm on the ground is not working correctly because it must think in the air constantly, or it must think I'm on the ground constantly. I'm not sure, but for some reason the jump is no longer uh, 1 block tall. It's like 1/10 of a block tall. So I'm gonna have to fix that as well as this bug with me spawning under the world. Okay, so I adjusted some values and now the jumping seems to be working. As you can see, I can jump up this block and I realized that it's really slight, but when I spawn under the world, I can still move. I can still jump. So what that must mean is that since stone is undefined and I must have spawned underground. So my theory is that I actually set the spawn position to be underneath the average world height. And since stone is undefined, I'm actually seeing through the stone. So I'm going to define the stone and I'm also going to fix the player spawn position, and that should fix this problem. After setting the initial position of the player to a sufficiently high enough height, then you can see I spawn above the world now. So now I never spawn below the world. And the reason why it worked sometimes before is because I was spawning inside of the stone beneath the world, and then it was just moving the player up until the player reached a space that was empty, which is how the physics is programmed right now. And so yeah, this fixes it, and I'm gonna continue looking for more things to do today. So ignoring the path tracing failures, uh, right around where it's blue inside these blocks, you can see that the blocks have ghosting, so you can see kind of a trail of the block as you move the camera. However, this doesn't happen when I move because right now it's taking into consideration the velocity of the player, but it's not taking into account when the player moves the head. So I'm going to fix that and I'll get back. So I fixed that bug, and now you can see that it's noisy when I move the camera, just like when I move the camera in any direction, even if it's rotation or positional, there's noise that shows up in the screen. Now, why that's happening is there's an element of randomness to the rays that are being casted out from the camera. And when you stand still, those rays accumulate. So it looks good in that case. But when you don't stand still, the rays are different every frame. You can see that as noise. So there's one strategy one smart strategy to fixing this, which is called reprojection. So basically, you take where the ray was last frame and you move it to the next frame, essentially transforming the last frame into the current frame, and then you combine it with the current frame. Um, Long story short, what that does is it allows you to build upon the information of the previous frame. And I've tried to implement that 2 to 3 times in my engine. I have to keep figuring out, why, it's not seemingly not compatible with my engine. And when I figure that out, we'll be able to fix the noise. But that's probably not something I'm going to do today, so I'm gonna continue looking for more things to do, possibly fixing this path tracing error, although I'm not sure why that is. So, I will continue looking for more things to fix and to refactor because that's kind of the routine I'm in today is sort of polishing off the things that I've already built as opposed to adding a new feature. Okay, so it's about 5 in the afternoon now, and I am working on a system which might not be completed until tomorrow. But what I am trying to do is create a hash table of all of the voxels inside of the blocks. And what that'll allow me to do is have an arbitrary number and structure of voxels for each block up to a certain limit of different combinations of voxels in the blocks. So you can only have, in this example, you can only have up to 16 different structures inside of the blocks. Uh, but you can see that I must have broke something else with the ray tracing because it's not showing certain faces of the blocks anymore. But you can see that it is sort of working. It is creating blocks on the fly, and all block types now have grass color. I'm going to have to reincorporate color into the rendering pipeline. But you can see clearly that the blocks have different, uh, that the blocks are full. And if I, for example, it might be difficult to see with the blocks not fully rendering, but if I go in here and I change it so that it only creates half slabs, which is the change that I just made, and I go down into the world, let's see here, it should be wider than it is tall. And you can see that now the blocks are much thinner. So it did work. Now the next step is to be able to dynamically use multiple types of blocks, different structures of voxels, and feed that into the world generation. So the world generation knows what grass is supposed to like, and it'll know what dirt is supposed to look like. But it can also add variation to the grass and to the dirt. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to implement all of this, but I will find out. So stay tuned. Okay, so I wasn't able to fix this bug, so I wasn't able to keep iterating on the miniature voxels on arbitrary structures of voxels inside of blocks. But that's what I'm going to continue working on tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching this video. Sorry there was less content to this video, but there should be more tomorrow. So thank you so much. Do the YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe if it means so much to you. But I've taken up enough of your time. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.